A terrifying howl is replaced with haunting chittering, a sound like children giggling from the dark woods. A curse takes hold of the souls on Eldraine, changing them into something fierce, something inhuman. We've seen their kind before on other worlds, an affliction that turns man to beast. Sharp fangs and serrated claws, ready to rip and rend livestock, friends, and family alike. A full moon shows those cursed, but can there be a happy ending for those lost? Greetings everyone and welcome back to the Aether Hub. I'm Simon, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. In this video, we're continuing our journey through the macabre and dark places of MTG's story. This is the 13 Nights of Magic. Werewolves. The very utterance of this curse conjures images of afflicted people, ordinary and plain in their daily lives, painfully transforming into a bloodthirsty beast at the sight of a full moon. Of jaws clenched deep into the flesh of those people they once loved and cared for. Now they're only a slave to their bestial desire to consume. They wake from this curse to witness the destruction they've wrought, which is the true cost of this affliction. We've seen this creature type plague plenty of planes in the past, most famously on the dark world of Innistrad. While werewolves there certainly uphold our stereotypical idea of this monster, on other worlds this horrific disease can take on a completely different shape. And that reimagining of werewolves is what I want to explore today with the Werewolves of Eldraine. Traditionally, werewolves are monstrous beings, humans cursed to become hulking wolf-like creatures. This is the case with those on Innistrad and the majority of the Multiverse. However, the plane of Eldraine takes a different approach. Here, those cursed are known as Werefoxes, and as you would expect from the name, they take on a more fox-like appearance than their wolf brethren. Aesthetically, the Werefoxes of Eldraine aren't so different from werewolves. They're still huge physically compared to the people they once were, with large fangs and claws included. They differ in their longer, more dexterous legs, smaller ears, orange or red colored fur, and bushy tails. What can I say? They look like foxes. While different in some ways, subsects of werewolves exist in all manner of forms across fantasy genres, even in Magic the Gathering. There have been werebears and wererats, so even in MTG, werefoxes aren't the strangest iteration of the were curse. But the true difference is how the werefoxes act. Werewolves are almost totally defined by their blind bloodlust, the animalistic behaviors that seem to take over what human consciousness was once there. Now the person acts on instinct alone, driven by base pursuits, which typically involve hunting and eating anything they can. The Werefoxes of Eldraine aren't turned only by the full moon's light. The curse comes upon every single night at sunset. They still become beasts, but many are able to keep some composure and even serve as knights or bodyguards, with their newfound strength at night only adding to their capabilities. For many afflicted, there seems to be a joy in letting go to savagery, almost like a cathartic release, but with some experiencing that same shame at dawn for the things they may have done the night before. They believe that this curse grants them perspective, that civility can end as easily as the sun sets, or that each rose, too, has its thorns. On Eldraine, this curse is almost poetic in nature, which is fitting for its origins come from myth and songs of legend. The Curse of the Werefox is one of folklore, passed down by the elves of the wilds on Eldraine. It depicts a curse that befell the elves of Redtooth Keep. The Elves of Eldraine are a very powerful but suspicious group. They're incredibly isolated, nestled in their wooded citadels, only dealing with the Fey folk whom they hold dominion over. Redtooth Keep was one such elvish compound, and in true elvish fashion, they would regularly deny shelter and aid to companions who traveled through the wilds. One day, however, they turned away a caravan of the needy, who merely were looking to shelter through a storm. Still, the Redtooth elves denied them. Hiding among this lot was a powerful witch, who didn't take kindly to the elves' selfishness. She cursed all those who dwelled in supposed safety, forcing them to take the physical form more befitting of their uncivilized natures at night. And thus, the Werefoxes were born. Like all good folktales, what's a curse if it cannot be broken? The witch who cursed the Red-Toothed Elves left them a path to redemption. Should they find true love in their hearts and another heart to join theirs, a red rose will bloom in moonlight, carried on the back of an Archon. Only then would the curse of Red-Toothed Keep finally begin to wither. In their history, the Red-Toothed Elves tell the story of a long-forgotten knight of Ardenvale who fell in love with an elvish archivist. Though their differences and peoples tried to push them apart, the pair persisted. Eventually, the knight presented his betrothed with a rose, and her curse was broken. But this is merely a folktale. In truth, many of the elves lived out their days always succumbing to this curse. True redemption would start just after the Phyrexians' invasion of Eldraine. As the plane began to heal from their attacks, a noble knight, Sir Armont, traveled out into the wilds looking to help whomever she could. She stumbled across the elvish settlement of Red-Toothed Keep and learned about their affliction. She was determined to uncover its secret and lift the curse. For months, she and her knights camped outside the citadel of distrustful elves. Some of her bannermen fought the Werefoxes against Armont's orders, but still, she persisted to build some level of trust and understanding between their people. An olive branch was eventually extended by the current ruler of the Red-Toothed Elves and Werefoxes, Yenna. Proud and stubborn, it was only through Armont's display of unwavering persistence that eventually broke down Yenna's walls. In time, a friendship blossomed, and with it, trust. Yenna was smitten by the knight's kind heart to risk everything for people suffering. People she didn't know, people she had no right to even care about. It was a truly special thing. Yenna opened up about the plight befalling her people, explaining that the curse could be broken, but only by stealing a blossoming rose from the back of an Archon hiding in a lost glade. Together they embarked on this adventure, a quest, with only Yenna's knowledge of the area and their hearts to guide them. Under a moonlit sky, the pair would find the Red-Toothed's redemption. Plucking the rose from the Archon's back, Armont presented the rose to Yenna. With that action, the curse was broken. But it wasn't broken by the rose alone. It took both Armont and Yenna to open up and express kindness to another for it to truly be lifted. Now, this folk story could come to an end, with Sir Armont writing its final chapter. Quote, "Brave Sir Armont mused, was the elves' true nature that of day's civility or night's savagery? Could such bestial rage be bestowed by curse alone? And as the rose began to bloom, the curse of the Red-Toothed Keep began at last to wither." And who says we can't have a love story thrown into a haunting tale? This is one of the many reasons I love the lore of Magic the Gathering. A small folktale taken and expanded upon by a handful of cards and legendary creatures. They all coalesce and tell a story of their own. And there you go, my little panicking planeswalkers, another night of spooky stories as we go through the 13 Nights of Magic. Please let me know how you're enjoying the frightening content in the comment section below. Please go ahead and support our haunting work by leaving this video a like, sharing it with friends, and becoming a subscriber. It's the very best way to help us spread more grief across the multiverse. And until our next foreboding evening, my friends, see ya!